first, I always ask everyone, like, when did you know that music was going to be a part of your life?
When did I know? Like, as in, like career wise, or just in general?
Just in general, like, even it doesn't have to be like where you wanted to play it, but you knew that music was like important to you.
I would take it back to like some Sunday morning church rides, because going from Conroe to Houston, there will always be music playing in the car. And like in the back seat, singing melodies and like trying to harmonize melodies. And I think that's definitely where it started. Just genuinely enjoying it, just like passively, randomly everywhere.
Yeah, what kind of music was playing on those car rides?
It was like lots of gospel, soul, R&B. Um, yeah, that most of that, mostly gospel stuff.
Yeah. Um, so like how old were you around this time?
I don't know, probably like 5. That sounds about right. 5 years old or something like
Yeah. When did you start like picking up an instrument? What was your first time doing that?
that. Well, first time picking up an instrument would have been 4th grade, where everyone has to pick up the recorder, you know.
Yeah.
But like everyone's like, "Oh, this recorder's stupid." I'm just like, "Yo, this is cool. What y'all talking about?" Like, I'm over here playing hot cross buns. I'm like, "Yeah, hot cross buns."
So from the recorder, what was the next what was your next step up?
It was definitely up to trumpet. So in 5th grade, that's when I picked up the trumpet, and that's what I've been playing. That's like my first instrument, and that's the instrument I still play to this day, was trumpet. Yeah, so it's definitely trumpet.
That's awesome. I thought I mainly see like a lot of bass content, but that's really cool that the trumpet's like
Yeah,
your instrument.
yeah, it's I feel like so like I went through college studying trumpet and all that, and I think it just really burnt me out.
Hmm.
Playing a lot of music I didn't want to play. And then so like the senior year of college, that's when I started playing bass more. Like I literally had a goal. I was like, I'm going to master bass this year. So then I just started playing a whole bunch of bass. So the trumpet is taking like a back seat. Um, but I pull it out every now and then. Because that's my first instrument. I can't just like stop.
So you went to college for trumpet, like performance?
Music composition,
Okay.
but all composition majors also had to um have a primary instrument and take private lessons on those as well.
Okay. That's cool. I didn't know that. So as in composition, do you feel that your education really like determines how you write music? Like, do you go and like consciously think like this is the notes or whatever I should do, or do you just kind of like just whatever happens happens?
Yes and no. So it all starts from improvisation first. So I just sit down at whatever instrument I'm playing, and whatever comes out. And then I use that knowledge and all the theory knowledge to synthesize it, make a form out of it, get more technical with um, melodies and rhythm and harmony and all that stuff. So I use the theory language to organize the thoughts, but beforehand I just go, and
Yeah.
whatever it is what it is.
What's the first instrument you play when you're just trying to write? Like, what's your go-to?
Can you repeat that? You cut
Um,
off for a second.
my bad. What's like your go-to instrument when you're just trying to write, or do you even have one?
It's definitely piano.
Yeah.
Because I can hear all the chords at once. I can do the melodies at the same time. Um, it's definitely the piano is the easiest for me to come up with a full composition first. Yeah.
Nice. All right. So when you were learning trumpet throughout school, like when did you start picking up other instruments?
Um, I would say so. I was in high school, and then freshman year, when I was still going to church, they needed a bassist, and I was kind of voluntold to play bass, and I just went along with it. I was like, "Nah, this would be cool." So I picked up the bass, and then that's freshman year of high school, and then junior year of high school, that's when I picked up the piano because I knew I would need to know some piano going into college, or at least that would help. And then guitar soon afterwards, and then whatever came after that.
Were you able to use your knowledge of like reading music when you started learning piano?
Yeah,
Is
yeah, for sure.
that's cool. That's something that I haven't done. I think Hugo, who's a trumpet player
Yeah.
in my band. He's tried to teach me so many times. I just can't get it. So I really like it's a really cool appreciation because I'm self taught. So like it's a I have a big appreciation of people who can just like sight read and just know what's going on. That's pretty cool. Um, okay, so once you're voluntold to play bass, like how was that experience? Like your first time just jamming with your church band?
It was how was the experience? It was very inviting because like I'm new at the instrument, um, but they knew I was gonna figure it out. Like they just knew that was my personality. So it was kind of just yeah, it was really inviting, and then all these musicians they aren't like super technically proficient anyway. So it was like whatever you can bring is like that's what you can bring. And then just grow alongside them.
That's cool. Before you went, did you like study any sort of like gospel bass or any kind of like bass rhythms or anything?
Uh, yes and no, but not necessarily gospel because I went to I've gone to like two different kinds of churches.
Hmm.
Like standard gospel, um, quote unquote black church, and then like a I guess the word would be contemporary Christian music type of church.
Yeah.
Um, so the gospel stuff didn't I didn't necessarily learn it or practice it,
Hmm.
but it's just like one of those things. It's like it's just ingrained in you. Like you hear it, you just don't know how to translate it yet. So
Yeah.
like I would be doing all these kind of licks, um, but I didn't necessarily say I studied that music, or I would. I'm trying to figure out how to formulate these thoughts.
It's okay.
Sometimes they would send they would just send like the songs like, hey, this is a song, go learn this song, and I just listen to whatever the bassist is doing. Usually the bassist, if it was like simple stuff, they're just doing simple stuff, so I just learn that, or I just use the theory that I knew to create simple bass lines along with the music. I don't have a clear answer for that.
It's all good. It's all good, man. Um, so when did you start getting involved in like just like local bands or creating bands?
First local band was it sophomore year of college? Yeah. So I guess I was like 20 at that point, 19 at that point. I was playing with Mirame, local band here in San Antonio, killer musicians. That's where I started, and very soon, about like a year later, I realized it's like I like to perform, but I'm a composer before I'm a performer, and so for me to constantly be playing other people's music but not my music just always felt like there was like a part of me missing. So then that's when soon after I left that band and then created my band, which is Xenobia, and that's and so that was like the first band experiences started with Midame.
Nice. Just like you said, fantastic group. So when you went and you started your own band, Xenobia, like what was your did you have any like goals you wanted to accomplish, or like did you have a certain sound that you were trying to go for?
Yeah, the sound was definitely jazz fusion, and it's still jazz fusion, or it's kind of just fusion at this point. It's not really jazz fusion, but that was definitely the sound. I was writing lots of jazz fusion stuff, and I still do. And so you said, was there a goal? The goal was honestly just to play my own music out there on the scene, and also just get it more well acquainted with the gigging world, and then also to lead to paying gigs, because I'm a professional musician that's not doing professional gigging. So I'm just like, there's a discrepancy there that I want to fix. So that was like the other goal for it too.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely feel that. Especially it's tough when you're like in the local scene, and I don't know. You the bands that get paid more here in San Antonio at least are like cover bands over local bands, which is kind of unfortunate, but it is what it is.
I mean,
Um,
it's the market, like everyone knows the top 40 hits. So like if you can play the top 40 hits, you bring in money for the venues. It's like it's
yeah,
all business, baby.
yeah, and that's what it is. So you also put out music under just your name, right? Like it's not just Zenobia music.
Hmm.
So how do you what's the difference? Like how do you know one song's gonna just be under your name and one's gonna be under your band?
Um, I just make a decision.
Yeah.
I just say, "Oh, this is for Zenobia, this is for Ben." Or sometimes I will have the same song, but just like two different types of versions. Like one is more electronic, and the other is more acoustic instruments. Um, and one thing we are getting into is like I had noticed when I was writing for Zenobia, it kind of sounded like Jamail writing music for Zenobia, not as Zenobia. So now we're gonna try to get into the habit of like writing together, like come up with the ideas, and I just going in the back, like just like putting form behind it, organizing it. But it's like we all came up with the ideas together. So I guess that's where the difference is going to start to be.
Yeah, for sure. Um, so you put a lot of like videos out on just Facebook. Like what's kind of your drive between or your drive to just I guess show everyone your music? Like is that just like a part just because of the quarantine or pandemic kind of deal, or is it just like that's kind of what you want to do as well as just create content like video content?
I think the pandemic amplified it. I just started posting more,
Hmm.
but then it's also to I'm using it as a tool to build what my social medias. Um, because overall, like I want to make a living off of music, and people are not gonna know who you are if you don't show them who you are. So I make these quick videos, be like, hey, I can do this, or like on my game Instagram, I'm posting specifically video game things, so I can reach out to video game developers and say, hey, this is what I do. I could write this music for your video game as well. So it's kind of it's a mixture of as a professional thing of just showing my friends, peers, colleagues what I can do, but then it's also kind of just like a and let me just get this thing out. Um, Maybe a little bit of validation, be like, hey, this is what I've been working on. People are like, oh yeah, this is good. I'm like, all right, cool, thanks, yeah, cool.
Yeah, man, I check out those videos and I see the comments and like everyone's super supportive and I think that's really cool because there's a lot of like good musicians there too that are supporting you. I think I think it's awesome. Like definitely don't stop. I didn't even know about the video game like idea? Like, what's your idea with that? What are you trying to do?
It's pretty simple. So I'm just trying to write. I want to be the guy who's writing music for the video games. Um, and as for the Instagram part, it's just I, for example, I'll take a clip of a video game, and I'll just write music to that scene, or I'll have videos showing me writing the music for that scene and then the final product. Or I'll take like those short instrumental things and make a caption saying, "Hey, I could use this little thing in the video game song, and this is how I would do it." You know, so it kind of like breaks up the monotony of the same type of post. Um, trying to show versatility as well.
Yeah. So what's your mindset when you're writing music for video games? Like, you said you put music to scenes. Like, how do you come up with like a tempo or anything? Like, just your from like point blank. What's your just mindset going into writing music for a video game scene?
Mm. So it's actually not much different than me writing music for any other medium. It's all the same. But what makes it the same is that when I'm writing specifically for mediums or like visual mediums, or let's say even the concert hall, because that's what I was doing most of my music when I was in college. Um, Instead of writing to the picture, I write to the emotion that that picture may make me feel. Or if I don't have actual visuals, I will like let's say like I have like a transcript, some words, descriptions of the scene. I'll just read that and be like, what's the most important emotion that I'm feeling in this? Um, Sadness. So then I go from sadness, and then I think, okay, what tempos? I don't really think about it, but like the tempos that tend to be sad are like on the slower side of things, long chords, really sometimes dissonant notes or like really clashing notes on purpose, um, stuff like that. Or if it's like say like it's happy, it's faster tempo, the rhythm's more bouncy, major key, stuff like that. That's what really goes through my mind when I'm like writing for uh, video games.
Yeah, that's really cool. So let's get into the instruments. Like, I've seen videos of you playing. I believe your acoustic behind you. You have a six
Yeah,
string LTD. Is that what?
yeah, it's actually right here. But I'm pretty sure a lot of people have seen this bass. Like it's kind of like really common, but
Yeah,
yeah,
it's a beauty. It sounds great too. Um, what's your is that your go to bass?
it is now.
Yeah.
So my go-to bass was Ibanez five string, the Geo 205.
Hmm.
That was my first one, and that's the one I've been playing for like 11 years. But then I was like, I have the money, I should upgrade in guitars. So now I have two basses, but they have two different purposes. Like this six string is for soloistic playing and like really bright stuff that works with like fusion, metal, all that stuff. And then I use the five string, I put flats on it, flat wounds, and I use that specifically for like playing with other people's music because people tend to like that tubby, woody sound. Or if I want like a super mellow bass that like jazz, I can't walk on this one. Like I can, it's just not gonna sound the same.
Yeah.
So then I use the other one for that kind of stuff.
What? So when you play bass, like, what's your favorite style of music to play bass to?
Um, I would just say fusion, because that encompasses a whole bunch of things. Um, but I play a lot of different things, dude. Like I guess you can say like my default is like funk, metal, fusion, wherever the. Can I cuss on this podcast? 'Cause I was
Sure.
about to.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's like funk, metal, fusion, fuckery. Like I don't know what it is, and but I don't know. But like I play funk, I play rock, I play metal. I wouldn't necessarily say I'm like the best metal bassist, but I do play it. And jazz, it's just kind of all over the place. It really is.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that you just like to play. Like it's
Mhm.
obvious from everything. Like you love music, and it's that's super cool. Um, so let's get into the drums. You're mentioning you're borrowing some drums. Like, is this your first time kind of practicing drums, or is this like a new instrument you're learning?
Uh, Once again, it's a yes and no thing. Because like I've always, you know, like I'm always drumming, but not with a drum set. Like I'm like when I'm like sitting I'm just like just messing with my hands, or like if I'm not doing like this, I'm usually like slapping, like, tapping on my body or something like that. I'm always trying to figure out some kind of rhythm, and it usually involves just my hands, but as for like the actual drum set, this is the first time I've actually really sat down and like actively working on the physical part of a drum set, of like where the snare and the hi hat and all that is laid out.
That's cool, man. How's it going?
I would say it's going pretty well. My hands can't keep up with what my brain wants to do, but it's fun. Like I get to hit stuff, and that's the cool part. I think the drum set is just filling that void that just wanted me to hit stuff. Cause like I got programmed drums all the time, but I'm just like, but I want to hit something.
Yeah, for sure. Um, so so how do you go about like practicing drums? Do you have like kind of a repetition, or like you're going through like different exercises, or you just kind of just jamming?
Jamming would probably be the best word for it. And that's kind of also how I practice everything really. I just go, but usually I'll find something I'm listening to, something I like, um, and it's usually way harder than what my current capacity of any of the instruments are. And then I just slow that audio file down really slow, and then like I just go, well, at least specific with the drum set, I go like limb by limb. Like, okay, what exactly is the kick drum doing? What exactly is the hi hat doing? I do those all separately, and then I bring them back together really slow. I mean, like really slow. And then I slowly build that tempo up to where it should be, or close to where it would be. And do the same thing for all the other instruments as well.
Awesome. I was gonna ask that too. I was just curious to see if it was any difference between how you're approaching learning drums versus how you approach learning like guitar or bass or anything.
Yeah, I guess there. I mean, there might be a difference. I mean, if there is, I guess it's the same concept but in different ways. So like if I'm working on specifically like this slap rhythm or something, say like I'm writing it or I'm trying to learn it from another song, I once again I slow it down really slow to get um to make sure I'm being efficient with all the movements, smallest movements possible, the least amount of effort possible to get the same sound that you want. Because if I just start right away, just like going like that, it like really crazy. When you get faster, you can't keep up because you're just flailing all over the place. Um, so I keep it really small movements, really slow, and then I speed it up. And then what else? Sometimes I might find exercises, or I create my own exercises, and that's the composer in me. Like I'm just making something up. Um, is there anything else I do? I'm trying to think. Uh, Yeah, the bulk of my practice is just find something I can't play, and then and then try learn it, and be too stubborn to give up, and then finally give up.
Oh my god. Um, so how do you practice composing, or can you practice composing?
That's a long one. Um, how do you practice composing? Well, say I have like all these composing um ideas, like work like exercises, but I'm trying to like
Mhm.
how do I synthesize it down to the least amount?
Yeah.
One thing is like, for example, I'll take like a really short melody, like dee doo da, like that. That's it,
Hmm.
and then manipulate just that. So you can make that dee doo dum or da dee dum, and like you just take that same thing, like play it forwards, play it backwards. If a note went up and then down, try it going down and then up. So then now you're expanding um the different you're expanding what your default was, and now you're seeing what else you can do with it, and then you just expand it from there. That's like one quick tip I can
Yeah.
give. Um, but I have a whole bunch of other things. It's not an easy answer.
Yeah. I think that was great, like just great advice too. So the answer was great. Um,
Cool.
have you written something that you haven't or that you didn't play to write, like you just wrote it out on the scale or on a like a sheet of music?
Um, can you say again? You mean
uh
like I wasn't playing it and then wrote it, but I wrote it and then
I
played it?
guess I'm sorry, I guess like you wrote the music like on the on your sheet music first and then performed it afterwards. Have you composed anything like that?
Oh, yeah, plenty of times. Um, well, I guess if we're excluding the piano, then I guess yes, but I'm trying to figure out how to answer that question. Um, 'Cause that's a lot deeper than you probably think it is. I guess so I'm always playing at the piano and then I write it in the program. But I guess I write a whole bunch of ideas that I can't play on the piano. So I guess
Hmm.
that's the part to where I'm writing the music before I can play it. And then I take it from the music and then I read the sheet music and play it. Or usually in that case, I'm writing sheet music for other people to play the music. So technically, I don't play any of it. I'm just writing a whole bunch of parts for other people to read, and then they realize what the music is for me.
Yeah. That was good. It's just really like I feel like I have like a good idea of theory and stuff, but for
Mm.
you who went to college and studied this, like I'm just trying to pick your brain at it because
It,
it really like it's crazy to me. Just it's just crazy to me just having like all of this musical knowledge. But it's cool, yeah. So what what have you been doing band wise, like Zenobia, during this pandemic? Have y'all been like jamming or been sending tracks like via the internet?
at the beginning of the pandemic, we were um, kind of just sending tracks back and forth. Like, hey, this is like this little snippet I came up with, and and then we decided that we were going to work on an EP, do it all remote, and so it started with well, my drummer at the time, Dalton. We've switched drummers since the pandemic because of other reasons.
Mm,
Because he was going to Canada for college, and
okay.
but he like he would record a part, then he would send it to me, then I record my part, then I send it to George. He's the guitarist. He records the part, and then I send it to my saxophone player, and then he records the part. Then they send it all back to me, and then I mix it and all that stuff. And we're still doing that. We're still working on an EP right now. It's taking longer than we thought it would. Um, but it should come out within like the next 2 or 3 months. But that's basically what we're doing right now is that we are recording this EP, um, mostly remote, and then the occasional we'll we'll jam just for the sake of jamming, come up with some ideas. But it's definitely getting this EP out and the occasional jamming. Um, Obviously, no gigs, so we're not
Yeah.
gigging or anything. But that's okay because it gave us time to realize how much we were doing and how much we were not doing. So because we were gigging every Friday, we weren't creating anything new. So now we're just like, oh, we have the time to do something else.
Yeah, I think balance is definitely important. Um, so what about for you? What's 2021 looking like for your music? You have any plans?
Yeah. So for me, I'm working on a full solo album. Um, Mainly instrumental, some singing on it. Um, Lots of iwi playing on it, electronic wind instrument. Um, so that's the solo album. As for the rest of 2021, I don't know because that's so many things that happen,
Yeah.
and like in some things that you never thought would happen, honestly. But as for what I know right now, is that I'm going to um put out this solo album.
Yeah. Awesome. So how can people just keep up with you on social media, like when the album releases, keep up with your bands?
Yeah, so I have like three Instagrams. My personal slash producer Instagram is Jamail Stashery, which is JAMAILCHACHERE. That's like my first one. And then I have a video game um, Instagram. That's Jamel Game Audio. That's where I post all my video game updates. And then um, my band Xenobia. That's Xenobia Music. So that's XENOBIA Music. I didn't realize how long these names were until I had to say them all. But that's where you can find me on all those three.
Awesome. Well, I just want to thank you for the time you took to let me pick your brain. I was definitely well educated. You educated me with this, so I appreciate it. But let's catch up again. And again, thank you so much, and you have a good night.
Yeah, dude, you have a good night too. It was fun.
Yeah, for sure. Later, man.
See ya.